Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Baina Midday News, coming to you live from Benab House, Atomic Junction, Medina. I'm Khadija Tukubra Kailani. Coming up, a group of concerned Muslims say delay in announcing 2025 Hajj fee is frustrating Hajj preparations. Also, President Mahama says Africa's prosperity hinges on good governance and accountability. And in some international stories, vaccination mandate for Umrah pilgrims to begin in 2025. Do stay with us for details of the stories. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, the news is also live on Facebook and YouTube at Baina TV. Now, starting off with our first story, a group of concerned Muslims has asked the government to announce fees for the Hajj 2025 pilgrimage without further delay, describing the prevailing silence as unacceptable. In a statement, the group calling itself Concerned Muslims said other West African countries are well advanced in their preparations, adding that with the new Hajj task force announced by President Mahama, having returned from Saudi Arabia about a fortnight ago after negotiation with service providers are officially signing up for the Hajj, it is concerning that the government has still not announced the fees.
The group maintained that it is also worried about this inaction and unacceptable breakdown in communication by the government. According to the group, pilgrimage to Hajj, a sacred exercise which every Ghanaian Muslim dreams to undertake, also a capital-intensive exercise for that matter, requires adequate financial preparation and readiness. The group wondered whether the government was in any difficulty in announcing the fee or was hindered by its electoral promise to reduce the Hajj fee drastically from 75,000 Ghana cedis charged last year.
Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama says that Africa's economic prosperity cannot be achieved without good governance, transparency and accountability. Mahama stressed that stability, predictable policies and the rule of law are critical for attracting investors and ensuring sustainable economic growth.
Speaking at the 2025 Africa Prosperity Dialogue in Accra on February 2nd, President Mahama expressed concern over the frustration and disillusionment of African youth due to limited economic opportunities. He pointed out that Africa's commitment to democratic governance was meant to deliver tangible development, yet progress has been slow and in many cases unfulfilled.
Our youth are getting tired and frustrated at the lack of opportunity for realizing their dreams and aspirations. Our decision to embrace democratic governance was supposed to be accompanied by a dividend that will lead to improvement in the lives of our people and prosperity for all. Unfortunately, progress in this regard has been sluggish and largely intangible.
To restore faith in democratic and constitutional governance, Mahama called on African leaders to accelerate economic growth, attract investment, and expand employment opportunities for young people. He expressed that strengthening democratic institutions, ensuring free and fair elections, and fighting corruption are essential steps towards achieving these goals. John Mahama also highlighted that economic growth cannot be sustained in an environment of instability, stressing the need for peace and security across the continent.
As leaders, therefore, we must reaffirm our commitment to strengthening democratic institutions and ensuring free, fair, and transparent elections. We must fight corruption, which robs our nations of resources needed for development. And we must promote peace and security, as economic growth is impossible in times of conflict. It is therefore a call to action, this African Prosperity Dialogue, that Africa's time is now.
And in some other stories, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, chairperson of the Advisory Council of the Africa Prosperity Network, the chairperson of the Advisory Council of the Africa Prosperity Network, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, has urged the rest of Africans to emulate Ghana's mobile money system as a benchmark for their own.
Ghana boasts a unique interoperable payment system which allows seamless transactions between mobile money wallets and bank accounts and vice versa. Ghana's system has been hailed globally, often referred to as a global standard. Addressing delegates at the Africa Prosperity Dialogues in Accra, Dr. Zuma stressed the need for urgent continent-wide mobile operability and digital payment system, while acknowledging the effectiveness of Ghana's. She also highlighted the importance of African countries investing in broadband and expanding e-commerce to enhance inter-African trade. The APD aimed to assist African countries in transitioning from a fragmented continent to an integrated one, with a continental infrastructure investment framework guiding coordinated efforts among governments, investors, and development partners. The three-day African Prosperity Dialogue, which aims to promote an integrated African continent in many areas, especially trade, discussed key issues and made a number of recommendations. Dr. Zuma also addressed issues on logistics and transportation, as well as energy in Africa.
And now in education, Thomas Musa, the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, has expressed deep concerns over the erosion of moral values and discipline in Ghanaian schools. His comments come in the wake of the disturbing viral video showing a student from the Accra Academy Senior High School using a cutlass to flog two of his peers. The incident has sparked widespread outrage and reignited debate after the state of discipline and character development in the country's educational institutions.
Speaking to the media on Sunday, February 2nd, Musa lamented the loss of conscience and character in schools, warning that the trend could have dire consequences for the nation if not urgently addressed. Musa attributed the decline in discipline to the weakening of authority within schools, particularly the diminished role of head teachers and teachers in maintaining order. He recalled a time when head teachers were empowered to enforce discipline and parents actively collaborated with schools to correct their children's behavior. Musa emphasized the need for a collective effort to restore discipline and moral values in schools. He called for the empowerment of head teachers and the school administrators to enable them to enforce rules and maintain order effectively.
Still on education, Phyllis Kwachi Ofosu, acting spokesperson to President John Dramani Mahama, has assured that going forward, the government will put adequate measures in place to address the shortfalls in feeding under the Free Senior High School program. This follows the release of 200 million Ghana cedis to address the shortfalls about 2 weeks ago.
Speaking to the media on January 2nd, Ofosu Kwache highlighted the poor planning and implementation of the education policy, which led to a situation where schools were reopened without adequate food supplies. He noted that when stakeholders in the education sector, particularly headmasters, requested that the government deferred the opening date and the request was refused, resulting in schools reopening without food. This, according to him, led to President Mahama taking decisive action few days upon taking office, where he ordered that food be evacuated to the schools. He said in addition, 200 million cedis was released to the various schools through the Ghana Education Service to procure food for the students. Kwache Ofosu assured that going forward, adequate measures will be put in place to ensure that there is enough food to feed the students.
And in business, Ghanaians will have to brace for higher fuel costs as petroleum prices are expected to rise from today, with liquefied petroleum gas witnessing the steepest increase. According to the report, petrol and diesel prices are set to go up by 2% per litre, while LPG could see a significant jump of 4.6% per kilogram.
Petrol prices are projected to increase by 1.9%, pushing the cost per litre to around 15.72 Ghana cedis. Diesel is expected to rise by 2.1%, bringing its price to 16.60 Ghana cedis per litre. However, LPG will see the highest surge, with an anticipated 4.6% jump, taking the price per kilogram to approximately 18.20 Ghana cedis. While these figures serve as a guide for oil marketing companies, it remains uncertain whether all industry players will adapt the new pricing. The competitive nature of the market may lead some OMCs to adjust prices at their discretion. The price hikes have been largely attributed to increasing crude oil prices on the international market and the rising cost of finished petroleum products. Additionally, the depreciation of cedi down by over 2% against the US dollar in January alone has compounded the situation, making fuel imports more expensive. As consumers adjust to the new prices, the burden of households and businesses reliant on fuel and LPG is expected to increase, sparking concerns over the broader economic impact of these adjustments.
And now on the international front, Saudi Arabia is expected to implement enhanced health protocols for Umrah pilgrims in 2025, mandating